Good morning. I'm Lieutenant General Todd, Semonite, 54th Chief of Engineers, and we're on the road again in New Orleans today. And today we're going to talk to you about HSDRRS. Now that's a long acronym. It stands for the New Orleans Hurricane and Storm Damage Risk Reduction System. I've got Mark Wingate with me. He's the DPM down here. Mark, this is a very, very complicated system. Can you explain to our audience what is this system and what do we try to achieve with this?
Sure, sir. First thing, certainly it is a pleasure to be here with you this morning. But, you know, if we think back to Hurricane Katrina and the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, it really devastated the New Orleans and surrounding area. Well, in response to that, the nation invested $14.7 billion to basically bring risk reduction to this particular area. Not protection, but risk reduction. So that's our focus, is reducing risk. And what you see on this map here today is in the heavy blue line is essentially an earthen levee with flood wall system that forms a perimeter about 130 miles around the entire New Orleans metropolitan area. Now, there are pump stations within the system, there's flood walls, and there's earthen levees. What you also see in blue has actually been turned over to our local sponsors. So that is key, that the partnership that we have with that sponsor, they operate and maintain. What's remaining to do in this $14.7 billion investment is pretty minimal at this point. We actually secured 1% level of risk reduction in June 2011, but we do still have some areas of focus, and that is on some co-located river levees on the Mississippi River with the hurricane system. It is key to get those done, and we'll probably have those knocked out in about the next 18 to 24 months, and then we have 3 large pump stations to get interior rainfall out of this particular area, and we'll knock those out in late 2017.
So Mark, just this is very, very confusing. So first of all, you have a very, very low area. You have a Mississippi River going right through the middle of that low area, and you also have some internal canals. There's about 4 different things you're trying to do with all this. Can you just kind of walk us through the 3 or 4 big threats to New Orleans, and how does this system address those threats?
Yes, sir. Excellent question. Well, the first big request is, or the first big item is a hurricane surge that can come up from the Gulf of Mexico.
Okay.
In all of this particular area, hurricane can put surge up to about plus 20, 25, 30 feet during a substantial event. So that is one area.
Okay.
The other area that unfortunately folks forget about after Hurricane Katrina is rainfall.
Yeah.
We just experienced that just a few months ago, just a little west of here in the Baton Rouge area. But we could be inundated by a considerable precipitation event, and then those large pumps that are operated primarily at the local and state level have to pump that water outside of these big walls that surround the bowl.
Yeah.
Then we also are challenged with the Mississippi River. Now, we have high water every year on the Mississippi River.
Yeah.
Now, the great thing is most people don't even realize we have floods because of the great Mississippi River and tributary system that protects and reduces risk from river flood. So we have riverine running through it, we have surge potential, as well as precipitation events that we have to manage and juggle as a system-wide approach.
And I also understand you got sea level rise coming up potentially. You also have some degree, some seepage of the actual city itself. So it's a very complicated system, but you're really trying to hit almost 4 independent threats coming at you from different directions.
Yes, sir.
Now, Mike, something this complicated, there had to be some big lessons learned. Mike Clancy's the district commander for New Orleans down here. What are some of the big takeaways that we got to keep in mind as we continue to take care of protecting the nation in the years ahead?
Sure, I'd just like to say that the HSDRRS system, as Mark just described, is quite an accomplishment. $14.7 billion, one of the largest, fastest projects in the Corps of Engineers history, and it really takes a team effort. It was not just New Orleans District by any stretch. It was the federal government, our sister agencies all helped out, state government, local, parish, and levee districts. We all worked together. Within the Corps of Engineers, it was a core effort. Folks from pretty much every district worked on this. So I would just like to thank and congratulate everyone who worked on HSDRRS for your efforts here. In addition, sir, we got a lot of help from Congress on this one. This is a unique project in the history of civil works, and the fact that we got all the money up front. So getting that $14+ billion of money allowed us to think big. So here we are on the Western Closure Complex. This is the largest interior drainage pump station in the world.
Wow.
This pumps all the water out of western half of New Orleans. This cost about just over $1 billion here. We never could have built that with our standard civil works model where you get 10% of funding a year. But when we knew we had all the money up front, it freed us up with our non-federal sponsors to think big and think large and think systematically to solve this huge problem. So really it's teamwork and the right tools in place from Congress, and we're able to show what the Corps of Engineers can do when we are unleashed.
So I just flew this whole thing. I'm very, very amazed with what I saw down here. The bottom line is, you talked about biggest in the world. This is a world-class system. People come from all over the world to see what we did down here. And this is what the Corps of Engineers has got to do. We got to continue to step up to be able to not only be expert engineers, but continue to refine the processes or the funding to be able to make sure we can build this so we're efficient and we're saving taxpayers money. And that's what it's all about. I'm real impressed with what New Orleans does, the great Mississippi Valley Division, but thanks so much for a great job. And you guys are all about continuing to deliver the program. Good job.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.